Hey everybody, Jonathan Broadbent here. It is 5 o'clock on the nose on Thursday, November 2nd, and I have a confession to make. As a kid, almost all the way through college, I was not a particularly healthy eater. I just didn't pay attention to the foods I was eating. I was like you're probably pretty typical mac and cheese kind of guy. I mean, not that I ate entirely unhealthy. I just didn't pay attention. But there was a time, I think it was some of the people that I was hanging out with around college where they were buying like organic produce and vegetables and stuff. And I started paying attention. But here's the crazy thing. It was sometime before then, they started putting nutrition labels on packages of foods that we would eat. And I'm guessing I'm probably not alone in this. I didn't pay any attention to any of that. And then there was a period of time where I thought, boy, I probably should pay attention to my health and do a little bit more. And I saw these multivitamins, and you could find them anywhere you go. You can go to these discount dollar bin stores and find jars of these multivitamins. And I mean, no offense to anybody that buys those and takes them. I hope the best for you and for your health. But here's the thing, there's no telling what's in that stuff and whether or not it has any health benefit whatsoever. Some places have been found to be fraudulent. And so, as a next step in sort of that discovery of taking control of my own health and nutrition and being self aware, I started actually paying attention to the healthy ingredients and the foods that I was eating. And so I learned about something a while ago called a compounding pharmacist. And I've met some people and become involved with people who are really aware of nutritional needs, what our body actually needs. We might crave potato chips and cookies, but our body needs other things. And when we start factoring that in, we can take control and feel better about ourselves and do better for our health. I work in finance. You're probably wondering, what the heck am I doing talking about foods? Here's the reason. The same holds true for the investments that we hold. I've been talking for a while and posting a lot on UnWoke about the value of buying individual ownership of stocks and bonds, individual positions in companies. The value, first and foremost, is knowing what you own, kind of like knowing the ingredients that you're taking in for nutritional purposes. You know the ingredients that are going into your portfolio, you know what you own. So that means that as you build an investment portfolio and you build stocks and bonds and holdings for your future, all put together, I call that a portfolio. In building your portfolio, when you are purchasing individual companies, individual issues, you know that company. And if suddenly you find out that that company is unhealthy, in this case, they go woke, they buy into all this nasty corporate equity index baloney and start doing terrible things to their company and to society and to capitalism and Western civilization as a whole, which we've seen a lot of these big woke companies doing, then you can jettison those. And unlike the big group mass mutual fund sorts of environments, you can just simply nix that one and replace it with something better. So I think the way to look at this is it's not a bad thing necessarily. People ask all the time, is there a mutual fund, or is there a family of mutual funds or exchange traded funds? And I understand that people want those kinds of things because they're a fairly quick and easy shortcut, like taking a multivitamin, using the food analogy. But we have to be cautious about them. And you and we need to agree to do our due diligence. There are big places out there. And again, I'm going to draw another analysis or another analogy and sort of paraphrase the environment. There are big places out there, big Wall Street types of firms with tons of employees in them. And they have a massive hierarchy of people. Some of them at the top get paid massive amounts of money. And I don't mean to disparage an entire industry, but they make money on profit margin. And the more profitable it is, the easier it is to sell and market and brand and pump into that sales environment, which means the the cheaper that you can get that product, and the more of it you can sell, the more profitable you can be. Outside of the Wall Street environment, the objectives can be very different. Kind of like me discovering those people who are very nutritionally aware and compound pharmacists and those kinds of people who can actually look at me individually and what I want and what's healthy for me. There are people, um, and you should be fundamentally involved. There are people that will work with you, ask some questions, and build some stuff to suit. So I want to be clear about what I'm saying here. There are some mutual fund types of investments that may make sense, and we're looking at those and we're going to talk about those. But please don't turn a blind eye to the idea of owning individual positions. That gives you greater control over your financial life. One other piece that I made a point of bringing into today's conversation. I have lots of conversations, as I've mentioned before. I'm talking unabashedly to everybody and anybody in and outside of the world of finance. And I would say it's about a 50-50 mix of the people that I talk to that work in finance. About half are either oblivious and don't care and they're not paying attention, or believe that they like ESG and all the far left woke stuff that goes with it. And about half that talk to me, a lot of them breathe a sigh of relief to be talking to me openly about this because they're anxious and they don't like it. And then they're worried. As soon as they start talking to me, they're wondering if they're on a recorded line, and because they can lose their job by being outed as somebody who doesn't like the stuff. But here's my suggestion. If you know somebody that works in finance, or if you're following me and listening to this and you also work in finance, if there are people out there that believe in ESG, debate me. I mean that in the kindest, non-threateningest sort of way. I'd like some people to come on my show and talk about what they perceive to be the values of ESG. I have openly and very candidly made the comments that ESG is purely virtue signaling, what I call do-goodery, and as a fundamental ingredient, the idea of it turns over control of investments and who does the investing and where the money can be invested. It turns over control exclusively to those who define those terms like equity. Is there equity in the company? And diversity. Who's defining diversity? Who is diverse enough? Is it diversity of thought or diversity of skin tone and environment? Is all the employees driving battery powered cars enough, or do they also need to have solar panels on the roof? So because all of that is left purely to the subjective definition of whoever's in control of those investments and defining where the money can go, that gives exclusive control to the person or entity that's defining it. I hope that makes sense. But I want to get into that debate. I'd love for anybody that you know that feels the opposite, that feels the other way, that ESG is a good thing. I'd love to debate them. Thanks for listening. This has been another UnWoke live stream from Jonathan Broadbent. Talk to you tomorrow.